Hi guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming at you with another review. Title's in the title. But first of all, before we get into the actual review, obviously I already reviewed this guy, but I want to point something out. I did make a mistake in my last video. I called this guy the Gosei Ground Megazord rather than the Gosei Grand Megazord, which is his proper name. I actually did this a lot. I did this several times, which is particularly embarrassing because this particular mistake could have been rectified simply by looking at the box a second time. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. There is one more addendum I'd like to make to my last review, my review of this guy, but we will get to that later in the video, which is going to start properly right now. I know, I said I wouldn't be doing a whole lot of Power Rangers stuff. Said I wouldn't be collecting a whole lot of Power Rangers stuff. Obviously, I lied. Good news, though, this is the last one for a while unless I go back and do some classic Power Rangers, because, aside from one more set, which I have never seen and probably won't ever get around to picking up, this is it for Power Rangers Megaforce. This is the last of it. These are the Sky Brothers, Sea Brothers, and Land Brothers sets. And to be honest, guys, these are kind of a mixed bag. These were around 15 bucks a piece. They are, again, these header Zords on bases kind of deal. With, you know, hardly posable Power Rangers that are just slight remolds of each other, and the bases are not even remolds of each other. The only unique piece is this piece here on the red one. But we didn't really come for the sets themselves. What we get with these are the headers, or the Zords, in the American version. And if I can get them off there, the Zords, they're actually pretty cool. As the names suggest, Sky, Sea, and Land Brothers, each of these does have a theme. The Sky Brothers are all kinds of birds. I'm not really sure. They're far less distinct than the other animals in this set. Sea Brothers are kinds of fish. You see a swordfish, a ray, and a hammerhead shark. And the Land Brothers are all creatures you would find on the ground, and you get reptiles in the form of, I don't know for sure that it's a T-Rex, but I'm calling it a T-Rex because this thing is just freaking awesome. A stag beetle type thing, and I will get into better detail about these things later. Don't think I'm trying to rush. And a mole. And the headers themselves, they're pretty freaking cool. But then you get into the accessories. And yeah, that's dumb. And in terms of these bases, they're kind of cheap. The plastic is just not the same quality as on these guys, or at least it doesn't feel like it. This is soft rubbery plastic. Overall, though, they're pretty cool, and I'm going to show you why. Now, the first set we're going to be looking at is the Sky Brothers. Yeah, but first, we're going to get rid of this. Now, the bases do serve a purpose, but for now, all we really care about is these guys. Like I said, I don't know what kind of animals these are. They're pretty generic bird-like creatures. But you can see, like a lot of the Megaforce sets that have come out and I've reviewed, these guys are pretty cool looking. I already showed you their leader, but I'll show him to you again. Some really good molded detail, some good paint, rubbery plastic crest thingy, and he does have wheels. He has his own wheels. This thing, big pointy beaked bird thing, good gold paint, good eyes. The eyes kind of unify them together, being the same color, very cool. Good red and white, which is a good segue from this guy, who is mostly red, into this guy, who's mostly white. And again, Like I said, I'm not sure what kind of bird this is, but it looks cool. This is probably my favorite set of the bunch. I like birds. I think these birds look very cool. Overall, I think it's the best. And you may have noticed that Gosei Great's chilling out in the background there. And that is because, well, like all Sentai things, Gosei Great can combine with stuff. And specifically, he can combine with each of these sets. The first set I'm going to show you is called the Sky Megazord. The transformation is exceedingly simple, but that is pretty common with Sentai stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to remove his head and put it back in its storage place in Gosei Great's sword. Next, we're going to take the arrowy headed bird, plug it in there using one of those mysterious ports on the top of Gosei Great's wings. We're going to take the white bird, plug him in there. We're going to fold them down, creating like shoulder cannon looking things. And finally, we're going to take the red bird, and we're going to plug him into the head. And then fold out his beak bits to create kind of a three-pronged crest. And that is the Sky Megazord. Very simple, kind of a silly design for what I think is the strongest of the sets overall. But I like it. It's cool. It came with a trading card. I do not know if this guy wields the sword or not. I'm assuming he does, because I think he gains the ability to fly. And because he doesn't gain any weapons. But like, he can hold the sword, of course. It's a little heavier now that it has a head in it. But yeah, I mean, pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. Next up, we're going to look at the Sea Brothers set, which I think is probably the next strongest set overall, and probably the strongest overall in terms of its combination with the Megazord. As you can see, I did point these out. These are much more distinct looking animals. You have what is clearly a type of swordfish, which this is very cool, by the way. All of these head ones, the main ones, like Red Bird here, who opens up, all of these have kind of a moving parts gimmick of some kind. And what's interesting about this set, and why I think it's overall the next strongest set, in my opinion, it is actually probably the strongest set, practically speaking, is that this one has two with moving parts. This is, of course, a manta ray. You can see his eyes. And his fins move. He's got great, this turquoise paint is just great. And then we have a hammerhead shark that doesn't really do anything, but he's got some really good molded detailing. These guys all have red eyes, unifying them. And just as before, they do combine with Gosei Great. So his head already off because it needs to be removed anyway. We're going to remove the hands again. I don't know why I didn't leave them off. And we're going to plug the hammerhead into one arm, the swordfish into the other, creating for him two brand new weapons, which I think is so cool. Now we're going to come up to the head. We're going to take the manta ray, turn him over, plug him in, bring his fins forward, and to allow clearance for the head, we're going to fold his wings back as we would when we were combining him with Gosei Grand. And now he's a pirate. And I love it. Very cool. Like I said, in terms of the combination, this is probably the strongest set. I still like the Sky Brothers a little bit more overall, but this is easily the strongest set combined. And this is the Sea Megazord. Last, and also least, but not by much, is the Land Brothers set. This set, even though it is probably my least favorite, is still pretty cool overall, and it does have my favorite overall of the individual headers, which is the T-Rex. That is just cool. The red head bit is a separate piece, and it does open to reveal like a cannon. That is awesome. I love this little thing. You can see great detail. Green eyes again, like the Sky Brothers, but it's a slightly different color green. The Beetle also has green eyes, and his pincers do open and close, which is very cool. And the mole, which has little treads on it like the tiger. It's got a rotating drill. And like I said, this is the least of the sets, in my opinion, just because I think the aesthetics of the others are better. This is a very good set. Probably the Sky Brothers set is not as good as this one. But again, it's all my opinion because of aesthetic reasons. But yeah, just like the others, these guys do combine with Gosei Great. But instead of combining it into shoulder-mounted cannons or weapons for the hands, they create weapons for the legs. Is it silly? A little bit, but it's also kind of cool. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pop off the Snake Zord, place him here, the Tiger Zord, place her there. Sorry guys, my phone went off again, had to go away for a second. Anyway, put those there. Next we're going to take the mole, attach him here, take the dinosaur, attach him here. Now we're going to come up all the way to the top, and we're going to spread out the pincers and connect the beetle here. And like all of these guys, and I haven't been showing them off enough, these guys do come with a trading card. All of them come with trading cards, actually. I'll go ahead and show them all now. Not hugely impressive, but they're relatively cool. But yeah, back up my camera, because this guy's pretty tall. It's weird. It's definitely the weirdest of the three. It's still a good set, though, in this form. I still like it. But yeah, I'm still not 100% sure that these things are worth their money. But thankfully, once you have all of them, and, you know, a little bit more, but we'll get into that in a second, they can actually do one more thing that is, it's also pretty cool. Now we know that these guys combine individually, well, I should say the sets combine individually with Gosei Great to form new Megazords. But I did mention there is one more gimmick with these guys. Because in Grand Sentai style, all of these guys can combine at the same time with this guy. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's actually pretty cool. It looks kind of silly, but it's pretty cool. They combine together into what I believe is called the Ultra Gosei Great Megazord, Ultra being a reference to the Ultra Zords of past, which are of course all referencing the name for the Ultimate Zord in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was just the Ultra Zord. And he has a different name in Japan, I'm sure. I don't know what it is. Yeah, a little background on this thing before I get started showing you how it transforms. In Japan, the Goseiger team had a little robot buddy who could actually grow up to monster size. Sorry about that. Could actually grow up to monster size, and it would actually help them fight the monster of the week from time to time. And his design was pretty silly. And I guess they didn't feel that American audiences would like him very much, because they completely replaced him in the American series with a different robot, where the Japanese robot is very clunky and squarish, for lack of a better term. This robot is very, flowing and CG, and while he looks very mechanical, he has more life to him, I think. And he looks kind of like a combination of the Mars Rover and Wally. He sounds like Alpha 5 from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is a pretty good callback, seeing as how he mostly functions as the companion to the wise old leader type, which is kind of this version's Zordon, quote unquote. And why I bring this up is because his main purpose in the show was to grow up to Zord size, and he would form a backpack for this guy that would give him more header ports for all of these headers. So you may ask, how do they achieve this epic combination with the American version of the toy? Well, they use these things. And again, not gonna lie guys, the way they came up to pull this off is actually pretty cool. Now I'm gonna point out, there is one more set in addition to all of this and that you do need to complete this fully, and I don't own it. So instead I'm just gonna be using the header, one of the headers from Go Say Grand, the Sea Lion. But we'll see where that comes into play in just a minute, because first, I have to show you how to combine up these things. First of all, we take that one unique piece off the red base vehicle and set it aside. Next, we take these thruster things off and throw them away because they don't play any more part in this from this point forward. Turn it around, turn it over because I'm an idiot, and flip this out. Next we take the black base vehicle and we plug it together. And we take the blue base vehicle and you guessed it, we do the exact same thing. And now we have this really big, cool backpack for the Ultra Go Say Great Megazord. I pointed out earlier that these feel kind of cheapish. They aren't quite as high quality as the Zords themselves. You wouldn't know this from looking at this thing. This is actually really sturdy and pretty hefty, and I like it. Forming this guy up is really simple, as all Power Ranger stuff really is. First, what we're going to do is we're going to take the Go Say Great Megazord, and we're actually going to rotate his wings forward. Yep, there we go. You can see, wings forward. That will allow us to come in here and remove all of the original headers take the backpack, which now has enough clearance to attach to the back, and we're just going to plug it in via that black post to the same slot where we would plug in the dragon's tail. Now that it's back heavy enough that it won't fall over, we take the original 4 headers that are not the dragon and we attach them to the wings, which also explains why there's a bunch of header ports on the tops of the wings. The girls go on the outside, guys go on the inside. Not really sure why. I'm also not really sure why the shark header really does not want to attach on there. And you can already see this where this is going, and you can kind of see that it is going to be a little silly, but bear with me. Next, we're going to fill these in. So I'm going to move the camera up. Like I said, there is another set that we're going to replace the header from that set with this one, and it's very much it's very much like one of these sets anyway. It's one of these motorcycle type sets. What we do is he's like a shark or a whale or something, and he would connect to this port right there. And that does not want to stay on there, probably because it's not actually the correct piece. Yeah. Next, we're going to take the hammerhead and attach it here, because, you know, sea animals. Next, we're going to take the white bird and this red and white bird, which I think it might actually, now that I'm looking at it, be a pterodactyl because it has teeth. Like I said, again, these animals are not as recognizable as the others. Connect him there. Connect him there. Moving down to the legs, we take this one, which I guess might be an eagle. I'm still guessing, guys. I'll look it up eventually, though, I'm sure. I'll give up. Attach him to the knee. Fold up the fins on the manta ray. Attach him to the other knee. Attach the mole and the T-Rex to their usual ports. And finally, moving back up to the arms, we take the beetle and attach him to the phoenix sword as a claw weapon, and we take the swordfish and attach him to the shark as his typical sword. Apologize for that, my phone went off. Anyway, I'm back. Move this all the way back so you can get a good view of it. Last piece is this helmet, which we just slide over the head. Sticks there by frictions. And that's it. That's Ultra Gosei Great Megazord. I'll pull my camera back a little so you can actually see it all together. There you go. And zoom in a little. You can catch the details. And like I said, I think the way they brought all this together, using those bases, well, creating a backpack for this thing and then splitting it up into bases to use for the individual sets was a good idea. It prevents us from having to buy yet another set to get the giant blue, yet sometimes small and blue robot. Is it silly? Yeah, it's really silly. It's a robot with a bunch of animal heads sticking off of it. But if you saw this thing coming towards you, you'd run away. It's also freaking intimidating. I like it. It's not going to be my display piece. I'm still going to go back to combining Gosei Great and Gosei Grand and displaying them. But I think it's pretty cool. Now, this brings me to my major issue with this line, as I've said before. It's the money. Get my light on this guy a little bit better while I'm talking about this. Is I have to recommend these sets or not. And honestly, I'm going to say it's really complicated because they're expensive. And there's a bunch of them. Back when I was a kid and we bought Power Rangers, there was like 3 sets. And yeah, they were pretty costly. But there was only 3 of them. Now we've got whatever set this guy is going to come in eventually, the actual one. We've got the Sky Brothers, the Sea Brothers, and the Land Brothers, the Megazord. It's a lot of stuff. And this altogether is probably going to cost parents about $100. Is this thing worth $100? No, it isn't. And frankly, if I were a parent these days in this economy, and I bought all this stuff for $100 and my kids put it together and this is what it made, I'd probably be really ticked off. So is it cool? Yes. Do I regret buying it? No, because I had the money to throw around and I am a collector. But really, I'm going to have to go with my standard recommendation on these guys. If you like the design and you can afford it, get it. If not, don't. There's no reason for you to. But yeah, And one last thing, guys. I did mention earlier that there was one more addendum that I needed to make to my Gosei Grand review. If you recall during that review, I did talk about how you can take the sword from Gosei Great and the chest shield from Gosei Grand and make kind of a pole weapon that really seemed incomplete. And now you have actually done the research, I know why that is. When these two form together, they not only increase their own power, but they gain the ability to combine with the head Zords from each of these sets, as you can see here, and create a weapon with its own unique powers. What you do is you just take, like for example, here's the Stag Beetle. You take it, attach it to the top. It makes it very heavy, as you just saw, but he can't hold it. Now you've got this kind of grabby staff. You can take the, whoops, this keeps happening to me today. Take the swordfish, get kind of a spear, which is also very cool. But again, probably my favorite. You can take whichever kind of bird this is, I still don't know for sure, and put it on the staff and make kind of a trident. And yeah, those are all cool. And because I do like this guy better than Ultra Gosei Great, I will probably just continue to display this guy, put the other Three Brothers set Zords around him on the shelf, and then put one of these on the top of his staff and kind of complete the look. Probably either the Sky Brothers one or the Sea Brothers one, because again, those are probably my favorites. I do like the Land Brothers, as I've said. I just don't like them quite as much. That's really it, guys. I will talk to you all later.